Dear viewers, welcome to another video in the series of descriptive statistics and graphical summarization in Excel. In some of our previous videos, I explained how we can use the data analysis plugin to come up with some descriptive statistics. From this video onwards, we will understand about some descriptive statistics as well as graphical representation which we can do with data analytics. As part of this, the first video will be on how to draw histogram for a given set of data, both using the graphical representation of Excel as well as the data analytics plugin of Excel. Let's get into the video. As I was explaining in the introduction, here I have a set of 30 sample data collected from a garment company for how much time it takes for a tailor to stitch a particular type of a garment. So that is the data that we have here. So how can we draw histogram for this data? So in the first video of this playlist, we have explained how to add a plugin called data analysis. So those who have not done that, you can listen to that video and you can add this plugin called data analysis, which will help you to do a lot of analysis in Excel, which otherwise may be difficult. You may need some other application like Minitab. So now I have installed this data analysis plugin, and with this help of data analysis plugin, I'm going to draw histogram. So I click on data. So there are a variety of options available, and one of the option is histogram. So I select histogram and then I click OK. When I select histogram and OK, so let me remove these values to start with, and I'll explain about each of this when I'm performing the graph. So first thing that I need to select is I need to select the input data range. So there are two ways by doing it. One is I can have the label at the header. If I put a tick mark on this, I can select from the first cell where I have the label. From there, I can select the data. If I do not put a tick mark on that, then I need to select it only from the data. I cannot select from the label. So now I have selected the label. So I have put a tick mark. I have selected the label. Okay. So now where do you want the output to get stored? So for this first case, I want the output to be stored on C2. So I select C2. And there's an option which says bin range. I'm going to leave this bin range as of now blank. I'm not going to put any value. I'll explain what it is in few minutes. And there are options available where I can arrange the bars based on the most frequently occurring bar at the first. But generally we don't draw histogram that way. Hence I'm not putting a tick mark here. I put a tick mark on the chart output, and I also put a tick mark on cumulative percentage. How much data is, or how much cumulatively the percentage of data get covered in each of the bin. So to know that, we put a tick mark here, and now if I click OK, I get a histogram here. Now if you understand this histogram, the Excel has identified the minimum value, which is 4.76, and from there the histogram starts, and it has identified the bin size also accordingly, and it has calculated up to 6.6, and anything beyond 6.6 will be called as others or more. And if you see the graph here, the graph is for the first bin we had only one data point, for the second bin we had two data points, and the two data point together covers 10% of my data. That means the first data point or the first bin covers only one data point, so 3.33. The second bin covers two data points, so cumulatively 3, so 10. Then the third bin covers 7, so cumulatively 10. So that's why 33.33. So that is how this cumulative line and this histogram frequency bar get plotted. Okay. So now what we can do is I can again click on data. I can go to data analysis. I can go to histogram, and this time I'm going to select my output data to be in J2. On top of it, I'm going to give the bin range. So what I mean by bin range, so since I have put a tick mark stating the first cell is the label, so I'm going to start one cell above, so this will be considered as the label, and from here on I'm giving my bin range. So what is this? Now I don't want the bin to be decided by Excel. Instead I want the bin to be decided based on the values I have given: 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So this is what I have defined as my bin. So now if I click OK, so I will get the output and the graph as per the bins that I have designed. So for bin number 4, we did not have a data point. Sorry, for bin 3, we do not have a data point. When I say 3, the meaning is from 2.5 till 3.5. And similarly, bin 4 means from 3.5 to 4.5. On both those areas, we did not have a data. And bin 5 means from 4.5 to 5.5, we have 2 data points. So like that, we have the bin defined, and for the given bin, we have the histogram getting calculated, and then based on the cumulative frequency chart is also getting plotted. So in the first graph we have allowed Excel to decide the bin size. In the second graph, we have given the bin size ourselves. If I want to increase my bin size not from 3 to 8 but 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, if I want to do it this way, I can still do it. So now I click on data, I go to analysis, and here I click OK. And when I click OK, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say my output should be on Q2. So instead of J2, I want my output to be on Q2, and I want my bin range to be considered from this one. So again, first cell I have told will be the header. So I am ignoring the first cell and selecting from there. Now if I click OK, I get this kind of a graph, and this graph is collecting data based on the bins that I have given. Sorry. So this is how we have drawn a histogram using the data analysis pack. But now what we will do is we will try and draw the histogram using the Excel graphical representation option, not using the data analysis pack, but using the Excel graphical representation pack. So I select this data. Now I click on insert. I go to the graph, and here I select the graph. So what happened, to start with, a histogram get constructed. So if I want to explain again, I click on insert. So I have a variety of graphs. In that I have the second row middle option. The first one would be my histogram. So now what I do, I have this histogram constructed, and now I am going to arrange, or I'm going to modify this histogram. How I'm going to modify? I'm going to right click on the x-axis. So the x-axis, I'm going to say I want certain number of bins. So I can decide my bin width. So for example, I am saying my bin width will be 0.5, right? My bin width will be 0.5. Then what will happen? The bins get rearranged from 4.76. So 0.5 means from 4.76 to 5.26. From 5.26 to 5.76. I can even go and say my bin width is going to be 0.25. Then what will happen? The bin width get rearranged and a histogram get constructed like this. This is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is I again select this data. I go to insert. I go to graph. I draw the graph. So first the graph get constructed for 4 bins. Now I choose this graph, I paste it somewhere here, and I right click on format axis, and after right clicking on format axis, I am going to say number of bins. So instead of giving bin width, I am going to say I need 10 bins. So I say number of bins, and then I click OK. So I get this kind of a graph. This is one way of drawing your histogram. The other way of drawing the histogram is I again click on insert. I go to the I need to select my data. Just a minute. I select my data. I click on insert. Here I have something called histogram, and then it also gives you a cumulative curve like how we have seen. And what it has done is it has also arranged the one which are the bin which has the maximum number of data points coming in the, or maximum number of data points that is falling on a particular bin, that will be arranged first. Generally we don't draw a histogram in this way. We only draw histogram in a sequential x-axis scale. But if at all for some reason if you want to draw it this way, this is also one of the methods by which you can draw this. And this curve here talks about the cumulative contribution of each of this bin and how much it is contributing. So only thing that you need to do is, if you want a proper adjustment of this particular scale, you can adjust it accordingly. I hope this video was useful for you to understand how to draw histogram, both using the data analysis plugin of Microsoft Excel as well as graphical representation of Microsoft Excel. We have pasted or we have posted a separate video on the concept of histogram and how it can be drawn in Minitab. So I will give you the link of those videos as well in this description, and I will also give the email address. So if you think getting this data and practicing it will help you, please feel free to write to that email address. We are more than happy to share that data file. Thank you friends, thanks for your time. See you in another video.